Disclaimer, if you've been on YouTube any length of time, you know Aaron Marino, Alpha M, and his pushing of Tiege Hanley.
Gentlemen, welcome back to the Tiege Hanley Starting a Business, Building a Brand vlog. This one, big number 339. So, a week ago, I heard about the sudden passing of a big popular YouTuber, Kevin Samuels. And it kind of rocked my world. For those of you who don't know who he is, in the past few years, I guess it was back like a year and a half, 2 years ago, he basically started to blow up in the manosphere community. He's very popular with the Black or African American community. Very popular in a good way with the men, not super popular with the women, because the thing that really got him kind of like on the map was a video that he did where I believe he was talking to a specific woman and they were having a debate and he called her like average at best. And from that point, he really started to take off. Now, he had been doing YouTube for a long time. I think like 2015 was kind of like when he started. But on Friday, I got a call or a text from Kelly, said, "Hey, Kevin Samuels died." I said, "What?" "No." And then I looked and sure enough, he had passed away. And yesterday, I watched a video from, and for the record, I'm going to get to some of your business questions in a minute. This has been kind of like, I haven't known really like how to feel about this other than just feeling really sad. And it's not that I had a good relationship with Kevin. I actually didn't care for him much. And it was weird though, because 3 weeks ago, he actually reached out on Instagram and actually, I can tell you and read exactly what he said. He said, where is it? There it is. He said, "Thanks much for sharing your story about your struggle. I recommend therapy on a near daily basis on my content. I live in Atlanta these days. If you're available to collaborate." And I said, "Hey man, what's going on?" So we actually had a phone call. I said, "Hey, let's connect," because okay, how do I even talk about this? Because here's the weird place where I'm at, right? I don't want to talk about somebody in a negative way that isn't around anymore to defend themselves, right? But Kevin and I have a relationship, not like, we go back basically to like 2015. And it started because he bought my image consulting training course. I gave him a discount, 50% off. I actually emailed my assistant, Debbie, this morning, said, "Hey," she actually emailed me and said, "Hey, did you hear that Kevin died?" I said, "Yeah." And I go, "What was the deal? Why did we sort of fall out?" Because honestly, 2015 is a long time ago, and I dealt with a lot of like weird people over the years. And so, and she refreshed my memory. Basically, he ordered my image consulting training course. It was online. I gave him a discount, and then he basically downloaded everything, said that it sucked, and disputed it with PayPal and got his money back. He also did, turns out like he plagiarized some of it and used some of it. He wanted to be an image consultant. He also contacted Debbie trying to get, he was very aggressive with my assistant Debbie, not like sexually or anything like that, but he was very, 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 very forward. He came to the Menfluential Conference and I got to meet him. He met a bunch of people, which he also met Jeff, the Style OG, apparently at this point as well. Now, yesterday, and the reason why I really am kind of thinking about this even more is that yesterday I watched Jeff, the Style OG's video about Kevin Samuels, my friend, and it was an amazing video and tribute to Kevin. And so I'm going to link to it down below, and it really shows and highlights the positive impact that Kevin had on somebody. He impacted a lot of people in a positive way. It just so happened that me and my relationship and the way that he and I kind of got to know each other was not super positive, to the point of me not really caring for him or the type of person that at least I experienced. And so one year he came to the Menfluential Conference. I believe it was in like 2000 and like, I don't remember the year because I think it was like 17 or 18, somewhere in that neighborhood. See, I'm trying to be respectful, honestly. Anyway, he was making YouTube videos. He started making YouTube videos in like 2015, and 1 year, I can't remember the year, but it's all so fuzzy. So there was some drama with Kevin to the point of me not allowing him to actually come to a future Menfluential conference. And then he went around me and tried to talk to Terry and all these different people and Antonio, and he was really pretty shady and doing some weird things. So fast forward, and Tiege Hanley, we were gonna do this video. All of a sudden, Rob and Kelly were like, "Hey, there's this guy Kevin, and we're gonna do a video, an ad, and test it out, some top funnel video." And he's a customer, great guy, and all this good stuff. And so we want to do something with him shopping in a drugstore, and we want Christian to film it. And so we did. So once again, I wasn't connecting the pieces yet, okay? So there was enough time in between when I had this issue with him back a long time ago, and then when Tiege Hanley was contacted by him, and it turned out, I think Kevin actually did a video on his YouTube channel talking about Tiege Hanley. I don't believe at the time it was sponsored. Was it sponsored? Hang on, let me tell you if it was sponsored. Did he have an affiliate link? He had an affiliate link, so he must have reached out and gotten an affiliate link. This is back in 2017. Long story short, Kelly and Rob, I was not involved in this process at the time, said, "Hey, we'd like to actually film a video using this guy who's a customer, has a YouTube channel, and we think it'd be really good just to kind of, get some top funnel content out there." And so they ended up setting up this video that we were going to film with Kevin in Atlanta. Christian was going to film it, and they basically found this drugstore up in Ackworth and said, "Hey, this guy's really a big fan of yours. Would you go up and meet him?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I'll go and say hi." Once again, I'm still not connecting the dots. And so I go and I meet him, and he was super charming and a great guy and really nice, and saying how, I inspired him and that he bought my course. And then once again, I'm not connecting the dots. And so we ended up renting him an Airbnb in Atlanta that we were going to film a portion of this ad. And he was going to stay there while he was in town, because at the time he wasn't living in Atlanta. And so they filmed everything. Well, that night, apparently Robert Kelly was looking at his Instagram, and he filmed something where he was really kind of inappropriate with a woman. And he was talking to her, and I don't know that you saw her. I don't remember the whole dynamic of the situation. But he sent it to us and was like, "Yo, what do we do?" Because it was to the point of this is not okay. And so we ended up deciding not to use the commercial. But during the time, we sent Debbie sort of an invoice to pay. And she's like, "Wait, Kevin Samuels, wait a second, this is the guy." And then she found all these emails. And so then we connected the pieces that this is the same dude that we had issues with Alpha M and T. And so we decided to we paid him, but we did not go through with the commercial in terms of using it as an ad, because we were concerned that if he was this inappropriate with this person, how would that look if she came back? Because we were basically funding his trip and we were paying for his Airbnb. What would happen if she would say, he sexually harassed her or whatever? Oh, it was because of T. So we were scared, and so we didn't end up using the ad that we filmed, that we paid for. And that was kind of the end of the relationship with Kevin. Fast forward to basically a year and a half ago, he exploded on his YouTube channel. I mean, crazy growth. And we're like, "Wait a second, isn't this the guy?" And everybody was like, "Oh, wow, that's incredible. Yeah, he's blowing up. He's just, in the manosphere, he's talking about, men and women, and saying that if you're a successful man, you will cheat on a woman." He was saying some pretty racy things, and he basically was ultimately polarizing. A lot of women did not care for him. A lot of men really cared for him in this space and community. It was so crazy that about probably 6 months ago, I was in the mall. I was at Perimeter Mall. I will never forget this. And I wasn't paying attention to Kevin or anything, but I saw this dude, right? This big, dude that just looked really put together. He was wearing a sweatshirt with an image of Kevin And it said, I love Kevin Samuels. And that's when I was like, whoa, this guy is like totally like reached another next level. And so anyway, fast forward, I do an interview with Hafiz from The Roommates. And Hafiz made a comment to me. He's like, hey, Kevin told me if when you see him, or when I see you, to say that he would like to connect and get together and film some stuff together. And I'm like, thanks, I'm going to pass. But for whatever reason, when I got that message from him the other day, I thought, all right, maybe this dude is, maybe it's worth me just, connecting with him and, just letting all this stuff go. And so we had a conversation. We talked for about 45 minutes. I was on my walk, and he sounded great. He sounded like he was really doing some good stuff, and it sounded like he was, what he was saying is, I'm about helping couples have better relationships. I'm about helping. And that was his goal. That was his thing. And I congratulated him. I said, man, I just want to say congratulations on everything that's happened. I'm so excited for you. Well done. Like, you have like exploded. Congratulations. This is great. And I believed it. And I believe that it is amazing that somebody would have that level of success. And then to hear that he passed away just like that, right? From whether or not it's a heart attack or something else, I don't know yet. I don't know if it'll ever come out. But it rocked me. It rocked me deeply, because here's somebody that, is on top of the world, literally on top of the world in that community and for what he was talking about. Finally, after like 55 years of struggling, to see somebody that has struggled, and then finally, they figure it out. They do whatever they need to do, and they skyrocket. Crazy, unbelievable success. Millions of dollars, just crushing it to just be done like that. It hit me, and I was sad. And the reason I think that I was sad, because not only does it suck that he was, kind of done just like that, it was sad because I knew that 50% of the people were going to be really sad and upset about his passing. And I knew that the other 50%, the people that were not fans of him, were probably happy about it. And it made me sad. It made me just really, it literally, I'm still, a week out after this, it still is kind of just like shocked me to the point of like, wow. Realizing that life is so fragile. You're never guaranteed anything. You've just got to take care of yourself the best way that you possibly can. And I hate it. I hate it that he passed away. I hate it because I feel like he was, destined to do some good stuff, some good work. And I feel like he really, from what he told me, had a good intention in terms of helping other people. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of share my story, my connection, and just to kind of like talk about it, because it's weird, and it sucks. And if you guys are looking like that was my story, right? But Jeff, the Style OG, and a lot of other people have been doing, amazing tributes to him. And so I encourage you to watch Jeff's, because Jeff had a great friendship with him. I was not friends with Kevin. I was an acquaintance that had issues that, span years, but it still was very shocking to me and very upsetting. And I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it that this happened to him. Regardless of all this crap, regardless of how I felt about him, it just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart for him. It breaks my heart for his family. It breaks my heart for the people that really got a lot of value from him and the people that he helped. And it sucks. Life is short, gentlemen. Never forget that. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how much fame you have. If it's your time, it's your time. The thing that you can do is try to be as healthy as possible, exercise, go for checkups, go get your colonoscopy, get your heart scan, exercise, eat right. It still sucks any way you shake it, and I'm sorry. And so Kevin Samuels, I would just like to say, from my heart, from Rob's heart, from Tiege Hanley's heart, rest in peace. And you know, whatever you're doing now, you know, I wish you nothing but the best, and you know, I hope you're happy. Fucking sucks. All right, gentlemen. So I apologize if that was kind of like a buzzkill. It probably was a buzzkill, but it was just something that's been weighing on me, and I just wanted to talk about it. And there was a connection with Tiege, an influencer, and so I just wanted to kind of address it. Now, a question that I was supposed to address this week that I'm going to put off one more week. I need you, Paul Clark, do me a favor. Copy it, post it here, and next week I promise I will get to your question about copywriting and trademarking. I did not do enough research in order to answer the question well enough today. And so next week I promise I'll take more time. I won't have some weird long ass segue, but Antonio Centeno will be here. Uh-oh. Antonio's coming in for my birthday he's going to be here when? He's coming in on my birthday, May 19th. And so I'll probably have Antonio with me answering questions. So how about that? Paul, he probably knows more about trademark and copyright than I do. So ask your question down below. Antonio and I will take it big time next week. If you've got a business question, start with a business question and ask your question. Next week, Antonio and I are going to kill it. It's just going to be great to hang out with him. All right, so the first business question, I'm going to answer a few though today that I can kind of get through. Jonathan Marcy says, I'm trying to start a small business that doesn't require a lot of startup money, around $20,000, and I make around $70,000 a year. I have a somewhat decent credit score, 700, but I've been living debt-free for years and I'm afraid to take out a loan. Should I take a risk and get a loan, or should I save up for about 2 years, get the money I need, and then start the business without any debt? What I would do probably in your situation would be take a loan. If you need $20,000, you know, $20,000, the fact that you are debt-free right now, you have a salary or a job that pays you $70,000, that's not like you going and raising $300,000, right? It's a more manageable number. If you could literally save enough money in 2 years to do it, you know, that means that you could afford to basically pay your debt on that, or your bill on that debt. And so for me, I wouldn't wait. I would start it now, because you never know, right? Look what happens. You never know what tomorrow brings. And I would hate for you to have something happen or not do it, or have it put off, you know, 2 more years from now or 3 years and never do it. Guys, don't regret. Live it, baby, but don't be stupid. And so for 20 grand, you make enough, I'd probably look into doing it, if I'm being honest. Good luck, congratulations. Next business question. You said that you started to consume more business content from people like Alex Cardone. What mediums other than videos are you planning to consume more business content? Courses, books, or articles? For me, podcasts. Audible.com, and podcasts are where I'm going to consume. Next business question. Major Tyree, he says, hi Aaron, I run a small news/media organization. I'm currently in the process of trying to expand the content creation side of the business. The issue is we are in a relatively small town, and finding talent that wants to be in front of the camera is providing challenging. How do you go about identifying and recruiting creative people to do content, make videos, host podcasts? Is there a way to help people be more comfortable in front of the camera? So this is a great question. For me, it was just about repetition, working the muscle, right? You got to keep doing it, and you get comfortable. If you look back at some of my earlier videos, I was super uncomfortable. So it is something that just takes time. It takes practice. Now, in terms of getting somebody comfortable that's not comfortable, I don't know. Recruiting people in your area, you know, maybe it's something, because it is video, maybe it is something where you could recruit people more remotely and, you know, look online, look on social, look on, you know, I don't know, like your friends on Facebook. Like there are people, a lot of people nowadays that are very comfortable creating content, very comfortable in front of a camera, very comfortable, you know, recording themselves. So maybe it's something where you start looking for people that are already doing it, and then seeing if they do some type of freelance work for you. That'd probably be what I would do. Or just posting, you know, a question on Facebook or your social media platforms that you have. Hey, I'm looking for people. Because if it's a small news media organization, unless it is specific to your area, like it's just about, like for me, just Marietta, like I'm still thinking that you could you could advertise, right? You could run Google ads in your targeted area for people looking for talent. I mean, and if you know people, like, there's a way. You just gotta, I guess, get more comfortable talking about it and putting it out there. I think you'd be surprised if you put it out there. There are a lot of people that love talking to cameras. There are a lot of people that would love to be part of what you're doing. And so put it out there. Ask your friends on Facebook. Ask your customers. And good luck. That's awesome. But there are definitely a lot of people out there that are very comfortable talking to a camera. I promise. The next business question comes from our friend Cameron Bean. He says, "Hi Aaron, love the Building a Business vlog and the Alpha M channel content." Thank you, sir. My question may be one that you don't want to answer or maybe can't legally, but was your partner for enemy Zach from Chicago from one of your previous travel blogs when you went to Tiege Hanley headquarters? So Zach, no, Zach was not my business partner. Zach is an amazing dude who owns 2 or 3 very successful glasses and sunglass store. His store was the inspiration for Enemy when I went there on Oak Avenue, Oak Street, East Oak Street. The sign was enemy, or good is the enemy of great. I saw that sign. It was on his store. I thought sunglasses. I love sunglasses. Boom. No, Zach was not my business partner. Zach is a super successful, solid dude that I love. I think Zach is amazing. Great guy. Great guy. Next business question comes from our friend Owen. He says, "I'm currently working on a PhD where I do some science, math stuff, write code, and get to nerd out. However, recently, I've been debating going into more of a startup business direction using skills I've learned during my studies. I do enjoy what I do and acknowledge that finishing the degree would aid in my establishing my credibility, but I don't know if that'd be that useful in a business going forward. Should I finish the degree and then do the business, or should I leave with a master's degree and do it anyway? Thanks." You're already in it, like, finish. Don't not finish. There was a dude that I was friends with who went to chiropractic school. He did like he was like 1 semester away from graduating and was like, I don't really like this anymore. Mind you, he had like $100,000 in debt, and he's like, I'm going to be a personal trainer instead. And so, he was that close to getting his degree, and he didn't. He still did debt. He had all the knowledge except the little, finish, gentlemen, finish. And then you can do whatever you want to do, or maybe finish and then think about learning and sort of dipping your toe in a less formal capacity now. I think that'd be the best idea, but definitely get your degree. Finish it, finish it, finish it. The next business question comes from our friend Moroccan Critic. He says, let's try that again. Moroccan Critic says, "With my wife, we started a small YouTube channel to give courses in a very high demand field in our country in Europe. In addition to that, we have some courses online. We're doing okay, but we hope we can scale it so that we can open our own training company. We're both engineers with very demanding full-time jobs, and we're doing this on the side on top of having kids. My question is, what is your advice to reach more people? Today, we're not doing any advertising, but we are not growing enough so that one of us can stop working and do it full time, because it's not earning us enough to replace our income of one of us. Should we be doing advertising? On which platform? What is your insight on how we can reach more people?" So this is probably going to sound a little bit like a cop-out. But for me, what I would probably do is doubling down on the content you're actually creating and doing and posting more content. Whether or not that means chopping up your existing content, but putting more stuff out there, getting more, kind of like the Gary Vaynerchuk approach to content, just like blasting it, right, on different platforms. And so for me, I would not probably start trying to figure out the advertising mechanism until you've figured out the pain point that you're solving and what is actually going to convert a sale. And the way that you test that is through the video, right? The video means, whether or not it's a YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, you talking about that problem and doing maybe shorter videos, doing shorter sort of like segues and being like, hey, if you want more information or to grab this course or whatever, hit the link and go grab it. For me, because you are limited in terms of your time, you are limited in terms of what you can do, I would put more content out there to figure out what that message is that is going to convert sales. Once you figure that out, then maybe it is something where you do start, trying to advertise. Depending on the field, that's the other thing. Are you advertising on, if it's a training scenario, is it LinkedIn? I don't know what you're training, and so it's high demand. So is LinkedIn a good opportunity? Possibly. Is YouTube a good opportunity? Possibly. Is Facebook? Facebook is so hard right now, and it's really difficult to figure out what your ROI is on it because of the reporting and stuff. Google, is pretty effective, but for what you're looking to do, maybe it's something where Instagram, you can promote and advertise if you know who your audience is. If you have a specific high demand audience, I would possibly consider that. But before you do that, start putting out more content. Get those sales numbers up. Once you figure out what that message is, what is that video topic that people connect with and that drives the needle? Whether or not it's you use a coupon code to track that or you have a specific product to track that, you got to figure out a way to figure out what that message is, who your customer is, and then what is going to be the methodology and that conversion mechanism. What do you say? What is that pain point? What are you helping them solve that's going to make somebody open their wallet and use your services or start using you in terms of training? But great question and congratulations. That is where I'm going to wrap things up, gentlemen. I'm sorry that this vlog started with me sort of talking and telling a little bit of a story of my relationship with Kevin, but his passing very much upset me, and I feel terrible about it, and I still do. And this was kind of me just talking a little bit and getting it out there. I guess where I'm going to wrap things up is your legacy is how other people view you, not how you view yourself. My word of advice is be a good person. Treat people well, with respect, with dignity, and do the best job you can. That's all we can do. Kevin, I believe, from what he was telling me, was doing his best to help people have happy, healthy relationships. And so that is something that is incredibly admirable. During the process, he did ruffle a few feathers, but sometimes, you gotta step a little bit outside of the box. And sometimes you gotta say some things that are outrageous. You gotta say some things that are outlandish in order to shake people up enough to get them to listen. Maybe that's what he did. Maybe he believes everything he said. Maybe he just said it for shock value. I don't know. I don't really care. What I do care about is you. And I just want you to take care of yourself. Be a good person. Do the best job you can. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. And try to bring value to the world where you can. And take care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. And on that note, I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you, guys. I love you more than our double monk strap shoes, and we will see you next week.